Everybody, welcome to the Faith and Fandom podcast. This is the Artist Alley Aftermath Edition for Power ComicCon March 2025. I think it's been at least a year, maybe two, since I've been to Florence, but it's been a while. And made our return there. And yeah, it was a long day, but it was a good day. Paid off pretty quickly in terms of conversations and ministry opportunities. It was a grueling day in some regards, but it was still a good day. Initially, I wanted to set up Friday night at this show because it's about an hour from my house, maybe a little bit less. And so I could just roll in Saturday morning, peacefully. But due to scheduling conflicts, needed to go see my daughter in a production of Cabaret up in Durham. And that was a delightful experience. I'd not seen Cabaret before, and it is kind of it's an emotional roller coaster of existentialism, doom, and sassy music and German accents. But yeah, the show was good. My kid was awesome, doing her thing, and I am genuinely glad I watched the show. It was moving in a lot of ways, and I made a lot of connections to other stuff. But you're not here to listen to me review Cabaret. But that suffice to say, I got in at like midnight Saturday morning and had to leave at 6 a.m. Like, I think we got up at 5:45. My daughter Carmen and I to head out. I'd loaded my car Friday at lunchtime, and yeah, we headed out. Went on down to Florence pretty early. Stopped at Buc-ee's and got her a burrito and got me some coffee, and then we proceeded to load in. Had a good spot. And one thing I'll say I appreciate about Florence is that the tables are 8 feet, which makes a dramatic difference in the ability to set up well. I was next to a Pokemon stuffed animal dealer, which was good for attention for my sake. I was also directly across from another artist who was a school teacher in her muggle job, but she was in cosplay, so she had a lot of her students coming by and saying hi, and good experience with her. But got set up, got ready, tried some coffee from a peach cobbler dealer. That was interesting. But overall, basic setup, nothing too crazy. My daughter Carmen was an immense help in organization, and I really appreciated her being there and doing that. But almost immediately as the show started, a young person, let's say 20s, early 20s, approached the booth and said, I'm intrigued, or I've got questions, something to that effect. Please ignore the shuffling sounds of my dog. And I explained what the booth was, and their response was, "Are you religious?" And I'm discerning enough to know, based on this person's vibe, apparel, questioning, and stuff like that, that they had some resentment or upsetness in terms with the church. And also, whenever you ask somebody if they're religious, there's that, like, Christian trope. And I'm not even saying it's wrong, but there's that Christian trope saying it's a relationship, not a religion. But I said, well, let me say it this way. I said, all faith systems are religious by nature, but I feel like where that clarification really boils down to is I believe that religion or religious activity are certain sets of activities you do to, like, redeem yourself or earn a correct standing before a God. And I'm like, I love Jesus, and Jesus loves me, and I like loving other people with Jesus. And that's kind of like the gauge of it. So I think by default, yes, I'm religious, but I don't think, I've got to do X, Y, and Z for God to love me or anything like that. I didn't want to be vague, but I also wanted to be approachable to the line of questioning, which I knew was coming. And they proceeded to tell me that they are in the process of transitioning and that they've been hurt by the church. They've got a lot of church hurt. That how mean the church has been to the LGBTQ plus community as a whole. And this young person was just letting me know everything that was on their heart. And they went on to say that out of all religions, Christianity is the most hateful. Now, purely on an objective, logical scale, I have great disagreement with that concept. I have great disagreement with that. I can admit where the church has failed, where Christianity has generally done hypocritical and bad things. It being the meanest or most hateful religious practice is, I don't agree with that one. But for the most part, I spent about 30 minutes directly talking to this young person and letting them know that God loved them and listening to their hurts and being empathetic and letting them share all of their frustrations. And meanwhile, my 11-year-old daughter is just like sitting directly beside me, like exchanging significant glances with me while we're talking. And, she's 11. She's smart. She goes to a public junior high. Um, uh, but she sat there through the conversation, and I believe that the conversation was well executed. I believe that God's love and grace were shown, and that person may have walked away from the conversation feeling like they had been loved. At the end of the conversation, they bought a "We Don't Throw Stones Here" sticker and a "God is a Fan of You" sticker. So I'll not about the sales, but I count that as a win that that's something they wanted to take with them. So that was the whole thing, and that started off my whole time, and it was the first half hour of the show. And when it was over, my daughter Carmen just looked at me and said, "Well, that was a lot." And I said, "Yeah, I can totally just go now. We can leave because I've done whatever I needed to do here." But we went on, the show went on, and it's a show that runs 10 to 6, which is a solid amount of time for a show. It's not too short. It's good. Then had some, I'm guessing, teenagers come by and talk about, they recognized the Homestar Runner sketch that was on my table, and we talked about internet cartoons, and it was just funny. And then there was a peach cobbler dealer, and that was something we were very interested in. And the peach cobbler dude actually came by the booth to say how much he enjoyed what we were doing and that he wanted to support it, and so that was a good conversation. But yeah, it was pretty good. Oh, one thing that I will say, and I'm not saying this to criticize the show, but it changes the atmosphere when you think of the fact you're sitting there for 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you're sitting there for roughly 8 hours. Yeah, when you're sitting there for 8 hours, they were playing some sort of dad rock YouTube playlist over the loudspeakers through this thing. and it complete with like YouTube ads that kept popping up. But it was, I'm gonna say, maybe the same 25 songs on shuffle. So like a kind of punk rockish version of "Losing My Religion," Bon Jovi, like literally maybe 8 of Bon Jovi's greatest hits, um, and it was like that type of stuff on constant repeat with random YouTube ads. But 8 hours of the same like 25 dad rock songs was generally about it's like if I hear Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing, or like any more of this stuff, I'm gonna kind of lose my mind. On the same token, though, you could almost always look around the room and see somebody singing along. So it was only annoying if you were there for 8 to 10 hours. If you were just walking through once, you'd be like, "Hey, that's a pretty solid dad rock mix." If you're there for 8 hours, you may never want to listen to Bon Jovi again. But yeah, that was totally a thing. And this was also the first show I've done in a long time where Ron Rossman was the MC, and he is a Batman cosplayer of the North Carolina region. Um, and he has an aggressive Batman voice that he uses on a microphone, and over a loudspeaker it's real hard to say, I swear to me, like kind of like that. And it's so like every announcement sounded like I was getting interrogated by like a Batman on Hollywood Boulevard or something. But he did his thing and he worked it the whole day. Another interesting thing was pretty early on, I got recognized by a young man from Campus Crusade from UNC Pembroke, because I've spoken at UNC Pembroke a couple times, and there was a dude in a full Star Wars cosplay that recognized me from there. That was pretty cool. Another dude came up to let me know that Cutright, the rapper, has been in his playlists and in his top uh 1% for of his Spotify for like 2 years straight, and he really recommended the song "Rumble" by Cutright. He said he listened to "Rumble" by Cutright every single day before, when he started his day. Um, so yeah, that was fun. And then like another dude that was in a cosplay, literally just stopped by. He said, "Hey, book 7 was fire." It just, he said, "I picked it up at GalaxyCon a couple years ago, and it was amazing." That was neat. It was neat to just kind of get some love with that. Also started out the show by finding some stickers that I wanted um, from a booth that I had seen before but hadn't really paid attention to. But what originally caught my eye at this booth when it was at Fayetteville was they had a shirt of Mick Foley dressed as Mankind holding a folding chair standing on the moon next to the American flag with the earth in the background. And it says "One Giant Leap for Mankind." And I'm like, that's hilarious. But I wasn't buying a shirt of it. But then what really stopped and made me say, "Here, let me give you my money," um, was a sticker of Chip and Dale dressed as Tucker and Dale from the horror comedy movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And it said Chip and Dale versus Evil. And it had a scene recreated from Tucker and Dale versus Evil with Chip and Dale, where they were carrying the lower part of Goofy's anatomy, like his legs. Um, and I bought stickers. Like that alone sold me on some stickers, and I got some stickers for friends that I'm not going to say on here because I want to surprise them later. But it was it was good. There was some good merch. I bought some Pokemon stuff for some friends, but overall, good experience. Yeah, good experience with the stickers and everything. Then I had another really interesting interaction with a newly-ish married couple, and the wife was from, I'm going to say, Nigeria. Um, And the husband may also have been from Nigeria, but his accent was not like hers. They had different dialects and different accents, but her accent was very thick, and the language barrier was a bit strong when we tried to communicate sometimes. Um, but effectively, she had very strong convictions that uh, cosplay was bad because some people cosplay as bad things, and the husband cosplayed. Um, and she was like kind of like offended slash upset that I had anything to do with cosplay at my booth and that cosplay was listed on one of my stickers. And I was trying very patiently and clearly to communicate, Romans 14, why people are passionate about this stuff. And she didn't understand what geeky meant. She didn't understand what fandom meant. So I was trying to like slowly explain those things. And, you know, kind of felt like I was in the middle of like mediation, just a smidge. Um, but they also spent like they were another group of people that spent 30 minutes of the day just talking about stuff at the booth. And he ended up getting a shirt and I just gave him a book. And it was a good experience, and hopefully it'll be something that can be an encouragement to their marriage moving forward, and doing that. Um, Meanwhile, while I am in Florence, Ashley from Fangirling Over Jesus is in Jacksonville, Florida, doing the show CollectiCon, and Sarah Lewis, one of our Patreon supporters, was also there. And Ashley sent me a picture of her and I believe James Arnold Taylor, who plays Obi-Wan on the Clone Wars and Rebels and such, and also a picture of Sarah and stuff. And she sent me this really encouraging voice memo to say that she knows that I don't accept praise very well, and it's hard for me to take and process stuff like that. But she wanted to let me know that she was able to be there, reaching people and touching ministries and touching lives in the vast scope. She was doing bigger things than me, just in terms of scale, people, and stuff like that. Um, she was reminding me or letting me know that she was able to do what she's doing now because of, by her statement, my influence and encouragement to her in her ministry and helping her get started with things a few years back, and just letting me know that I'm part of what she's doing. And I haven't even responded to her yet. Like, I got the memo and I listened to it and I just kind of like turned into a little ball. Because she's right. I don't accept stuff like that easily, and I believe it. I'm encouraged by it. But sometimes when you say nice things to me, it might take me like 3 months to respond, just because I have to process it. Also, had a really interesting thing happen, which I don't know. I think it says a lot about our culture. I think it says a lot about church acceptance and perception as a whole. A young lady came by the booth and she looked up and saw my most recent shirt, and she looked up and read, "God is not a fan of you," and went, or kind of chuckled. And I'm sketching at this point in time. I don't even really look up. I just say, "Read it again." And I didn't say it like aggressively or anything. And she's like, "Oh, God is a fan of you." I don't know where "not" came from. I swear "not" was there when she's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "I'm a Christian." And and she like apologized for it. I was like, "It's totally okay." And the weird thing is, the exact same thing happened at Wilkesboro ComicCon. Somebody walked by, read the shirt out loud, and read it, "God is not a fan of you." And I think that's something to speak to the subconscious of people, where they automatically think God doesn't like them. Or they're so conditioned by church responses that they think God doesn't like them is what is being pushed. And I was like, take a second look. God actually likes you. We had some conversations kind of following that as well. So that was definitely interesting. Um, oh yeah, back to the dad rock stuff. I heard November Rain 12 times, literally 12 times. Another really interesting interaction is if your cosplay is its own thing, but furries are a separate thing. And if you're a furry, I ain't mad at you. I'm not against you. But I'm gonna say this: I saw maybe one of the most uncomfortable furry um, interactions I saw. There was a dude in a furry outfit and a girl in a furry outfit, and if those things are full body coverage, full face coverage, you can't really like see how old you are or anything like that. Um, but the girl was definitely a younger girl, like a teenager, and the boy was probably also a teenager, but maybe northern 19 to 20. And like these two furries were like literally having this like flirtatious banter in front of my booth. And Carmen again was just exchanging significant glances with me, and we were like looking at each other like he's like, and the one gentleman furry said, "I don't want to be weird or creepy, but do you live around here?" And I'm like, I need an adult. And I looked around and there was an adult, and that's fine. There were adults with them. He's like, maybe we can talk on Discord. And I'm like, stranger danger. Again, there's not anything wrong with that. But when I'm just hearing people in masks without like proper background checks asking for like teenage girls' Discords and stuff, I'm like, ah. Again, parents were present. I'm sure it was all well accounted for, but it definitely gave me the like caution flags of like what is actually happening right now. Um, Found out that two of my vendor homies are running a new show in Myrtle Beach called Legacy Con. I've seen Legacy Con advertised. I've actually already clicked interested in Legacy Con, but I didn't realize that it was the dude from Corridor Comics and Goblin Horde Comics are who were present at the Faith and Fandom, not Faith and Fandom, Vertical Minicon, and also did a show with them at Brothers Boyd Comic Con, and I've had some good interactions with them. And but those two are putting on a Comic Con in Myrtle Beach called Legacy Comic Con, and it's going to be early or maybe the last weekend in August. It's the weekend before Labor Day, so it's pretty interesting. Maybe something to check out there for me. But yeah, uh, did some artist sketches for the day. Enjoyed some of the ones I did, and Carmen was beside me and hanging out with me, and we had a good day of just father daughter time. Um, and I was doing my sketch cards, so she's like, "Can I have some of your sketch cards to do some sketches?" I'm like, "Absolutely," and like she's just like burning up a whole set of cards, like art, markers, the whole deal. And like I maybe had one initial thought and be like, "Hey, yo, stop using all my markers." But I was like, my daughter is joyfully sitting beside me coloring and doing art sketch cards, which I have all of them, by the way. I kept all of her cards. She's doing sketches beside me, and we're having good bonding time. I was like, I am not going to complain about needing some new markers. So color away, little homie. Um, but yeah, it was a lot. Um, my friend Patrick um, came by, and it was good to talk to him. I got to see the Simpson or Jordan Simpson again. Um, saw my friend Frank Calder, uh, but I got to see a handful of people. Patrick came by a couple times. Um, Trying to read my handwriting from my notes, but I don't remember. One neat thing was that a cosplayer dressed like Cowboy Bebop came by, and he started looking at the booth, and he's like, "So is all your stuff just like vaguely Christian stickers and things?" I was like, "Well, I write a book series of Bible studies." He's like, "What?" He got really excited. He's like, "Can I pray for you right now?" And so for like a minute or two, if you looked over, you saw Cowboy Bebop, complete with a cigarette and a rose, reaching over and praying for us at the booth, and it was just really cool. There's something in my notes that looks like moviers or mothers. I don't know. Um, I'm not going to figure that out. That's cool. Something else happened. That was good. Um, let's see. I got to see a couple really cool cosplays. One thing that was neat was there was a set of One Piece cosplayers. That was Buggy, the Clown, Robin, Sanji, and Frankie. And I went over and did the super pose with Frankie, so that was delightful. Actually, really, that kind of made my day um, to be able to do that. But there was some really good cosplays there, and I really enjoyed getting to be a part of that. Uh, Looking back to some of my photos of the show. Do do do. Oh yeah, Lyle did a Daredevil Born Again print where he says, as he put it, he stole my shtick of scripture with memes. He put John 3:3, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. And so he made a print of that and apparently did really well with it. Um, I saw a Dan to Dan alien cosplayer, which is really fun. Let's see. Yeah, and it was overall a really good experience. And then towards the end, as we were packing up, the booth in front of me wanted to do an artist trade, which I'm always appreciative of. And I was like, listen, just warning, my stuff is very Jesus-y. She's like, I'm good, I'm down with it. And so she came over and traded, like, I got 4 stickers from her, she got 4 stickers from me. Gave her some buttons. I got a postcard. It was really neat just to be able to trade art and do stuff like that. And even on my way out as we packed up, I got to talk to some people. So it was a good experience overall. Financially, it was not a bust. And that's always a win. Florence is not an expensive show to do. There's no hotel required. It's less than an hour drive from my house. And like with that, I think the table's maybe $100 or $125. I'm pretty certain I covered the table back in sales. So that's a win because that's not always a frequent thing. Um, but yeah, it was a really encouraging day. It was a good day. I felt really solid with it. Got to spend some time with Carmen, had a good time, and she's like, she was hitting me up the whole time. It's like, listen, uh, we had a good day. I helped you a lot. I did all those T-shirts. You think we can swing by Five Below? And so it was a neat experience to like just be able to like, sure kid, let's go to Five Below. Also, I got a spicy mango candy from Five Below. Chef's kiss, really good. We hit up some Bucky's on the way home for dinner, and that was about it. It was a good show, low maintenance, good encouragement. Minus some of the dad rock, it was like crazy chill and good. Um, there were heavy conversations, but there were encouraging conversations. There was also plenty of mockery and negative attitudes, but it was a lot, and I feel like I was there for a good reason, for a good purpose. So I'm grateful for that. On that note, I want to say thank you to our Patreon supporters because you help literally make all of this possible. Rivka and Tristan Birch, Dorothy Martin, Michelle Stewart, Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, who I'm sad did not make it to the show because she was doing a band thing in Pembroke. I feel you. The Coleman family, John Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, who I did get to see, uh, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for being the encouragement and support you are. And we've got 1 week off because I've got a wedding. And then the first really big show of the year, 4-day long GalaxyCon Richmond, which also includes Geek Church and Faith and Fandom discussion panel, which I need to get to work on. I need a new Geek Church. I'm probably going to do the God is a Fan of You message at Richmond because I did it at Raleigh and I haven't done that there yet. But yeah. Also, I added a Goofy movie chapter to the website and the podcast since then. So, yeah. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen, for supporting, and I hope to see you at a con real soon.